right, moving on with the tournament. This is the semi-final, kind of. It's the final of the losers bracket. So the winner of this game is going to go on to face Orange Heart for the final in this tournament. Okay, so on the north side, we've got Blinchik as Aeon bumping out a flare in the earliest portion, and on the south side, we've got a Chief Jaguar Cybrin as the faction of choice, rolling out an engineer to go after the Hydra. So this is a direct counter to the build. This lab is going to attempt to pick up this engineer. I don't think it's going to be particularly successful because there is an ACU walking up from the back. Excuse me, from the back. Oh, I hope I don't get the hiccups. That would be a bad time. Oh dear. But engineer is out for Blinchik. 3 mass extractors going down. In addition to the initial mechs and 2 power generators moving up, we got the Hydro, second air factory, and then another land factory. So first land, second air, third land. On the south side, it would appear that a Chief Jaguar has queued up essentially the same thing, but we've got no early power generators in the back, 3 power generators on the front, and the air factory after those. What you'll notice is that this build order is more quick, faster. Holy cow, Brink, get your English together. This build is going to be a little bit quicker than this build, I do believe, and also a little bit less likely to stall. Although I'm pretty positive that Jaguar did not, in fact, stall in this build, unless it was for a brief moment in the building of the next power generator. So here comes the air factory, already 25% complete. This air factory has just begun, and we've got, let's see, 2 power generators, Hydro with the adjacency. Blinchik is going for a minimalistic power build that offers the utmost in efficiency in getting build power online, whereas a Chief Jaguar is building for safe power levels. So we're going to go ahead and queue over as we observe a little bit of a raid going on here. Let me stick with this for a second, this view. We've got the Hunter moving up around the north edge around the west edge and around the north edge. So raiding units from both direcciones, and as anticipated, the ACU was able to knock out that lab without much ado. And now Jaguar will be free to expand in peace. We do have, however, a scout and an interceptor already out for Blinchik. That bomber I don't think is going to be of much use, especially considering the fact that it is simply hovering above the base, not going out to seek a target. Jaguar finishing his land factory far behind Blinchik, as Blinchik is powering through the 50% mark on the opposing factory. That was a valiant attempt by that Hunter to get this engineer kill, but unfortunately the Aurora was able to peg it before its death could be met. All right, we're gonna set focus army to 0. That is gonna be Blinchik at 13 mass income, 180 power, fluctuating quite beautifully in the center of the economy bars. And we've also got almost 600 reclaim to his name. If we set focus army to 1, we can go take a peek at Jaguar, who is at 13 mass income as well, but rather heavily stalled indeed. And we've also got a massive power overflow on only 290 income of power. So what is to be gained from this is the fact that, oh, a Jaguar actually stopped his power build queue, reclaimed that to try to get his other factory online more quickly, and then is moving on with the rest of his business. While Jaguar is most definitively a better player than I, both in 1v1 and decidedly in team games, Jaguar is not very practiced in 1 versus 1s. And Blinchik most definitely is, sporting that 1900 rank on the ladder. So Jaguar has done a pretty exceptional job winning through a large portion of this tournament, but when going head-to-head versus someone who has dedicated builds for specific maps in the ladder pool, he is just going to lag behind a little bit. Now what's going to be interesting is seeing whether or not his eco skills and his overall knowledge of the game will redeem him as this match moves forward. But I don't know how successful he will be at this. So, we've got Jag is 1800 in ladder. I did not realize Rowie coming through with that. Okay, There's going to be 4 land factories on the north side and 4 going on 5 for the south. So Jaguar is coming up into reach. I didn't realize that Jaguar was that high on ladder. Perhaps he just doesn't have a practice build for open palms specifically. That could be the case. That could very well be the case. All right, Jaguar and Blinchik looking roughly even on their expansions, I should say. And we do have a pretty substantial amount of units over to the left to stave off the incursion from those forces. Blinchik is getting to the rear expansion more quickly, though, and is failing utterly to claim the left side, looking at his base. Right side for us. So Jaguar is going to come out ahead in mass, at least in the earliest portion of the game, and hopefully will be able to remedy this entire situation with a bit more of a strategic power build. He's got a little bit more power going down in the back of the base, nothing too extraordinary. We do have a fair bit of power, or a fair bit of air online, I should say. That's going to be 5-6 interceptors to his name versus 5 for Blinchik. Speaking of Blinchik, that is going to be 6 factories in total already built, with an expansion factory on the outside edge totaling 7. That's going to be 1 plus 6 for 7, with multiple extra queued, an additional air factory as well being built right there, and then 2 additional factories on the outside edge in the expansion. So Jaguar is definitely maintaining pace with his T1 spam, which is absolutely what you should see from a Cybran faction, because you are going to need as many Mantis as possible, as quickly as possible, to try and secure the upper hand in the earliest portion of the game. Those player colors are kind of hard for anyone with a degree of color blindness. I do apologize for that, but I cannot change it. I think that, yeah, my color modifications are not going to do anything because I don't have a designated team. Okay. Looking at how this map is progressing, Jaguar is going to take control of the center, which is not exactly great news for Blinchik, and Jaguar is going to also stave off the run-by attempt on the right edge. Taking a peeksies at the intel, we've got 1 radar in the center, which definitely doesn't cover the outside edges, but Jaguar has built an additional radar on the Hydra over here, and I'm sure is going to be queuing an extra radar over here at some point. This is looking a little bit exposed, but you have to consider the fact that he is at the current moment probing the territory of Blinchik on the left side. So any units that would be pushing here are instead trying to defend. So excellent placements over there. I do think that was a rapidly placed point defense template, because obviously it is kind of inside the mass extractor. Everybody misclicks now and then. If only my misclicks were so innocent. Jaguar moving up now into Blinchik's right-hand expansion with his ACU. That's a little bit of a brave posture considering he's going up against Auroras. Auroras, of course, outranging the ACU by just enough to be able to engage effectively without taking too terribly much damage. If you don't have T1 tanks with you or the gun upgrade, you're gonna have a bad time indeed. Jaguar being very, very brave here. Neither player is currently going for the expansions, and as I say that, I see that there is indeed a land factory queued on an edge build for Blinchik. Units moving back into the base. There is a point defense down, no artillery to be had here, so those Mantas are going to die a horrible and quick death. Hopefully something that is kind of painless, but since it is horrible, probably not. Jaguar not making an equal move for his own expansion, leaving Blinchik open to potentially place a land factory over on that side. That would be an interesting development indeed. We do have a couple of T1 point defense on the outer ledge, but of course Blinchik is mixing in T1 artillery, and that point defense is not able to fire over the edge of the plateau. So it will not be an extremely effective point defense, to say the least. Looking at the production scaling up into Chief Jaguar's base, we're looking at, you know what? No, I still need to count it. 1Zs, and a 4Zs, and an 8Zs, and a 9, 10 land factories. On the north, we have 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So roughly 10, 11, never mind. slightly favoring Blinchick, not slightly favoring Jaguar, although Jaguar is building his additional factory. So that is going to be a gun upgrade started on a Chief Jaguar's commander. Excellent, excellent. That's going to give him a tool to use against the might of the Auroras. Hopefully enough that it'll be able to tip the game in his favor, as we have a nuke launch from someone. I would assume that is probably Andorro. I shall check it after the match. We've got quite a bit of a unit advantage to Jaguar on the south side. I'd be interested to see when this will actually push through. But seeing as there's a couple of point events here and the ACU in place, it might not be so easy as that. But the artillery on the center mesa is going to take out a Chief Jaguar's extra mass extractors there, bringing this once again to a much more even placement in this game. Jaguar bringing Mantis over to this edge, speeding that gun upgrade. No, he's not actually. Those are not assisting, but it will prep for the inevitable push that he is going to undertake. And in the meantime, we've got 2 of those point events down. Mantis flooding the side expansion. Definitely great enough in number to take out all of those mass extractors and punch through to the rear, creating a pretty severe quandary for Blinchick to solve. The gun upgrade is complete. Blinchick is getting mobile shields out and is currently building a T2 power generator after the T2 HQ. So the map is shifting. Blinchick losing a small amount of ground due to the decreased production on that T2 factory upgrade. But all in all, things are looking pretty good for Jaguar. Jaguar also blinking away at these Auroras with his gun upgrade, swooping in with the Mantis to take the win on the right-hand flank. Blinchick left in tatters on the left side, but the score definitely says that these peoples are close to each other. Let's take a look at Jaguar. 71 mass income, excellently balanced economy. Let's take a little gander at the map. We've got 10 ASF, 20 ASF, but some of them are out of fuel. And we've got 80 Mantis on the map. That is quite the ridiculous amount. If we swap over to Blinchick, we've got a paltry 48 Auroras, about half the T1 forces at Jaguar's disposal, in addition to lacking the gun comm and having half the number of interceptors at 57 mass income, a 20 mass deficit to what Jaguar is running. All in all, that is a brutal, brutal push from Jaguar, clinching a pretty secure hold on the game. However, it should be noted that Blinchick does control the sides. That's an extra 6 mass extractors, or at least he will control the sides once he squashes that little bit from a Chief Jaguar. That'll offset the loss of one of those expansions at the very minimum. And he also has the T2 tech. Jaguar is now tearing into the right side expansion. Point events, of course, deterring him ever so slightly, losing a little bit of HP out on that, and overcharging the wall section on the front for what is a decidedly not ideal solution to that PD. We've got T1 bombers solving the problem in their own way on that side, and of course some more T1 bombers pooling up in the back that will be able to hit the other. The radar would be a very nice kill here. 2 radars being built just in case one of them happens to die, but of course both of them will ever so shortly. Blinchick getting more factories online as quickly as possible, and now pursuing the units raiding in the rear. Jaguar seeing that he wasn't going to be able to take this base, chose instead to go kill another master extractor on this side and then run up in the back. Jaguar is going to have to fall back ever so slightly here. We've got T2 tanks on the front line. He no longer has the numbers that he needs to punch through, and Mantis have actually hit on the other edge. Now, 3 Mantis is probably not going to be sufficient to take out that land factory, and in the meantime, Blinchick's extra time that he's had at production is going to lead to a bit of a problem for the factory on the other edge. Jaguar, in the meantime, has taken control of the air game decisively, so that is going to be a bit of a problem for Blinchick. However, a flak could be built. Currently, obsidians are under production, but a single flak goes a long ways against overwhelming air odds. I was about to say that ACU is going to be in a fine place to deny those units, but seeing as it is an unupgraded commander, that could actually lead to a strong chance of death. I'm not sure how that is going to play out. T2 Air is online, now building Swift Winds. Blinchik is going to struggle to bring the air game back under control. Meanwhile, a Chief Jaguar has shoved units up where they do not belong, raiding off this Mass Extractor once again, killing off some units in the rear. We got a Mass Extractor going down on this side, and Mantis are going to get into the back end of the base. The most annoying type of raid, to be sure. The single last artillery shot killing off that Mass Extractor. Another one loosed just before death is going to impact on that air factory? Where did it hit? That was slightly confusing. Okay, so 2 T1 power generators, definitely the good target there. Well, okay, never mind. The explosive death of the T1 P-Gens would be able to kill off that Mass Extractor, and the power might be a heavier loss, but then again, there is a T2 power generator online, so maybe not. TMD is up on the front of the base, protecting from a TAC missile that might pop into existence on Jaguar's side. Blinchik has now secured control of both plateaus completely, other than the T1 point defense right here, but I don't think that's going to be anything threatening. And in the meantime, we've got 2 T2 Mass Extractors online over there versus 3 on a Chief Jaguar's side. So Blinchik struggling to hang on, but just barely doing so. Hopefully he will come out all right. That is it's not looking good for him. Blinchik moving up again with that unupgraded commander. Holy hell, I would be way too tempted by this. I would have, if I was a Chief Jaguar, I probably would have just tried to swarm the ACU by now. Obviously that could have led to my demise because the ACU might come out victorious, but it just seems to me like that ACU being there is too tempting of a target. As we've discussed in some of the earlier games, the ACU does not fare as well versus T1 units as it does in the normal balance of the game due to the fact that the tanks take 4 shots to kill instead of 3, effectively increasing their danger to the enemy ACUs by 25%. So if we take that into account, the equilibrium balance should leave the ACU struggling versus 15 tanks, whereas the normal balance ACU can easily overcome 20 tanks. Although I guess I should take into account the fact that you have earlier overcharge. So maybe that's not the case. Maybe the solution is just to not power stall and turn on auto overcharge. Okay. Let's take a look over at the right. We've got a Chief Jaguar with both the gun upgrade and stealth, putting him in a pretty good position to advance. He'll be able to overcharge point events without taking any damage whatsoever, as well as putting him in a better position versus enemy units. And oh good lord, speaking of enemy units, those are loyalists. This is not going to go well for Blinchik. He does not have a T3 land online quite yet, though he is trying. He is definitely trying. Before we get to T3 land engagements, I'm going to go hop back over here. Set Focus Army 0. Blinchik is on 75 mass income on 12,000 reclaim with an excellent amount of power. If we go over to Jaguar, 95 mass income with 1,400 power, barely balanced, and 9,000 reclaim. So that is approximately a 3,000 reclaim bonus to Blinchik, but he is being outstripped by about 20 mass per tick in income. So all in all, I would say that these players are probably on even footing-ish as far as economy goes. If anything, Jaguar is slightly ahead. Because you gotta figure, what is it gonna be? 50 seconds of production to create 1,000 mass. Yeah, okay, so they're gonna be on roughly even footing, perhaps Jaguar slightly ahead. That is what we're going to go with. Green Ghost dropping another donation. Thank you, man. Just trying to cause a nuclear distraction. A Chief Jaguar is going to sit idle here. I'm not sure why. He could very easily push up on that side, but he may be devoting his APM to the southern border. We've got a single Cerberus turret struggling against these masses of tanks coming through. Loyalist is out, but as you can see, when the shots connect, the Obsidians are brutally overpowered, basically being miniature Percivals for their firing cycles, dealing 400 damage once per 4 seconds. Or no, 200. I don't actually know what it is in Equilibrium. Never mind. The point is, they have high alpha damage, slow firing cycles, and that effectively makes them behave like a Percival. Cerberus turret amazingly stayed alive for the time being, but those Obsidians, if Brink can talk, are going to come out ahead in the long run. Loyalist taking out one. If the shield can drop, he'll be in a good position to take out another, because that shield is down. But oh, good gracious. He has left it at a quarter HP. Jaguar bumped up slightly on the north, but is now backing off. The shield is down. The Loyalist hammering away at that Obsidian. Oh my goodness. 5 HP remaining. And it takes the victory. Good Lord, that was close. But the Obsidians did their job and knocked out the T3 support factory on that edge. We do now have Harbingers in the field, so things might get a little bit more difficult for a Chief Jaguar, but he can just drop a couple of bricks. Bricks will easily overwhelm the Harbingers, and that is the end of that. The bigger concern is that Jaguar does not get overwhelmed by Harbingers on his side. This is why you don't want to lose the Mesas. If you get T1 artillery in your base, they're going to be able to, at a minimum, kill off some build power. At a maximum, if you were unlucky enough to have upgraded both of those to T2, you will lose those mass extractors. And as we see on this edge, we've got, actually, that one is closer, so this would be the area that is symmetrical on this. You actually lose 4 mass extractors on this side to artillery on the plateau, which is not exactly a pleasant place to be in. We've got capped T2 mass extractors in the back, T2 mexes, but no caps in the front. Of course, if you upgrade those in the rear first, you are able to prevent any unnecessary losses. And I say that as I realize that I have seen people drop the back end with transports, but this is generally speaking one of the safer areas once you secure the front line. Of course, these 3 and those 4 are the ones that you upgrade first, followed by other mass extractors around the outside edge. Blinchik is now going up against a couple of Loyalists, but he does have a Harbinger at his side. And one of those Loyalists, although it has picked up a vet, was the 5 HP specimen from before. Unfortunately, it is going to die to a T1 point event. An unfortunate way to go. Brick being dropped on the upper ledge, that is going to be, I think, quite easily able to kill off everything on this plateau. Of course, the T1 point events will do the most damage, but the brick should be able to knock it out post-haste. If its targeting priorities actually work, then maybe... Nope, never mind. Okay, so the brick is bailing. T2 transport, oh no, that is a T1 transport as my mouse starts to glitch out. There we go. T1 transport dropping a brick directly on the upper plateau on the other side. So Jaguar is going to make a play for those mesas and try to eliminate the threats that have grown up thereon. What do we got going on in the base? We've got paused air production, we got T2 power generators going down, Blinchik apparently struggling a bit with a power stall, but close in score to achieve Jaguar. He's lost his expansion mexes, but he is queuing his NCU now to be able to get those back under control. We got a Mantis in the back end of the base with no units over there to kill it, so that is just going to have a heyday back there, killing off engineers. Brick knocking out all of the mass extractors on the upper ledge, reducing Blinchik's eco yet further. And now we have an assault on the ACU in the upper right-hand edge. Now, this ACU should be able to deal with the majority of this on its own, but we also have 5 Loyalists in the mix. This has no hope of succeeding. Run by totally denied. And we now have 2 TAC launchers online firing missiles, I think, at the T3 HQ. The question is, are those going to be close enough? No, they are not. We got a second hit incoming. The shield is down. The HQ is at low HP. Oh no. Oh no, he didn't launch enough missiles. Blinchik is going to have to go for... Oh, that was Corsair snipe on the power generators. Blinchik is going to have to go for TMD as quickly as possible to prevent that HQ from falling. Another launch has come in. Corsairs on the T2 power generators again. That's 2 P-gens down. Blinchik rebuilding, but obviously power stalled as the shields fluctuate. And here comes the death blow. We've got TAC missiles on the HQ. Oh dear, oh dearly dear. That is not looking good for Blinchik. Jaguar now free to exploit the T3 phase as he so pleases. We've got T2 transports being built by Blinchik. I'm not sure what he intends to do with those, unless maybe he intends to go for the rear again. But we've got Loyalists now coming out from the back end, trying to eliminate these artillery that are on the edges of the map, harassing these areas, and Achieved will be able to rebuild the mexes on those expansions. Okay, so who's in control of air? That is the question that we should be asking ourselves, and I think the answer is Blinchik. But we're going to go in and take a look-see at these bases. So, Jaguar in control of 22 Loyalists and 1 brick, with only 3 interceptors to his name, with 44 Mantis. If we go to Blinchik's side, we have got a pitifully few 2 Harbingers and 6 Interceptors. So if Jaguar is using his Corsairs to fight air, then he will win air. But technically, Blinchik does have more Interceptors. 85 Auroras at his beck and call, though, but I don't think that's going to be enough to go up against the 20-plus Loyalists from the opposing force. That is going to end up caving in his front end, although Jaguar is doing him a massive favor here. He has run into 4 T1 point events that is going to eliminate 4 Loyalists, potentially? Oh, 4 Loyalists out of that force. That was bad news. Jaguar, why you no send Corsairs to eliminate those point events? You would have had enough Loyalists to kill all that. He's now pushing units on the left and in the center. Oblivion turrets being placed, though, by Blinchik in anticipation of a push from that edge. So the Oblivion turrets are going to take a couple of firing cycles to knock the Loyalists out, but they are going to be able to deny the area, which is exactly what you want to do with your point events. They are a fallback tool, not necessarily a guarding tool if you just build point events in a random area over there. Okay, looks like we've got more T2 power coming up on the left, which I'm assuming Blinchik thinks is his strongest position due to the fact that his ACU, his 2 remaining Harbingers, and the majority of his build power are on that edge. Oh, holy hell, the number of mobile shields. Why you build so many? He does have the HQ back online, but that was definitely a major setback just a few moments ago. Jaguar is trying to lock down this expansion with a couple of Cerberus turrets, but he is losing ground against the overwhelming fire of the Fervors. They're going to knock out the front end T1 PD. T1 PD is going to have to fire at the other Auroras. Fervors releasing another firing cycle, which will wipe that from the face of the earth, and then they move onwards. But the Cerberus turrets will win overall. Look at the amount of Fervors on this side. Holy cow. That is a lot of them. So, something to observe about Fervors. They do 100 damage per second-ish, if I remember correctly, unless Equilibrium changed something. And the point events only has, let's find another one that's alive, 1,300 hit points. So if you have 20 artillery, you should click on it, wait for them to fire, and then move. Because everything after that initial firing cycle is overkill. Attack missile impacting on mobile shields on that side might have been intended for a point defense over on that edge. Would have been actually a nice little pickup. Going for point defense with the tack launcher and then moving units in behind might have worked out well for him. We won't know now because the mobile shield has caught it. Looks like we've still got the 2 tack launchers up, strangely enough, right outside the shield. Also, Achieve Jaguar, you pain me with your power generator lack of adjacency to the shielding. Holy cow, that's annoying. Looks like we've got engineers dropping on the north side, but I think that Achieve Jaguar has underestimated the amount of units that still remain on that cliff. He's got the brick, 36 kills on that brick, but it is over on the other edge. I believe that it is going after the mass extractors and other things on this edge. Nice little play over there. But it is going to be a bit of a problem for his engineers that are now struggling to build things. T2 transports are picking up something. I think those 2 harbingers right there. Although with the amount of loyalists moving in on the front end of the base, I don't know that it's wise to be carrying your harbingers. Oh, okay, never mind. Completely wise. Is carrying his harbingers to the back to save these 3 mass extractors from doom. So that is a perfectly acceptable thing indeed. All right, dropping in front of the loyalists in order to get maximum damage in effect. Hopefully these shields come up quickly and he will give chase. I'm trying to remember, I think 1 individual harbinger is about the same as a loyalist. I think it's stronger. Yeah, it's definitely stronger. Okay, so 1-to-1 loyalists win versus, or harbingers win versus loyalists. But 1-to-1, they lose to bricks, but the cost difference is there. Mass for mass, I would actually be curious to know. I think harbingers would win versus loyalists. But it also depends on the person, because with micro, the stun would come into play in a big way. All right, sacrificing the lives of several loyalists, Jaguar is finally going to be able to kill all of these pesky little T1 point events on the north edge. That is going to bring this expansion to its knees and open up a pathway to move in on the other edge. That right there is a Strat Bomber. And that Strat Bomber is killing T2 mass extractors. Will get shot down by a couple of Swift Winds, so not an incredibly successful Strat Bomber, but a Strat Bomber nonetheless. This brick has now successfully cleaned off everything on that ledge. It's now going to return to the northern side, and hopefully Jaguar will be able to build up once again on that plateau. Loyalists now engaging with the opposing forces. We've still got 7 Loyalists alive with an accompaniment of Mantis, but it might get a little sketchy here, seeing as there are a couple of T1 point events in the way and a couple of Harbingers. But no, those 2 Harbingers are not going to be able to stand up to the amount of Loyalists in play here. Looking back at the south side of Dlinchik's base, we've got another horrific example of lack of symmetry on the power generator build, but that is going to be a T3 power generator, which should solve a lot of Dlinchik's power woes. Might also open up an opportunity for T3 air from him as well. T3 air is online, we've got the T3 P-Gen right there, and bricks are now being produced out of the factories. I think this is one of the most extended games of Twin Rivers that I've ever seen, and also the longest spent on the T3 phase without a decisive winner. This is kind of ridiculous. Both of these players are giving it their all, and neither one of them is able to outright succeed. Kind of brilliant. Loyalists have made it to the back. There are only 2 of them remaining, and they are not doing a particularly fine job of eliminating this single remaining point events, but they will come out successful, and that 1 Harbinger might be able to win the battle thanks to the innumerable mobile shields. If only there were some power online to keep them supplied. It's almost there. And if you turned off all of your mobile shields, Dlinchik, at 75 per shield, you would probably not be power spelling. Loyalists are going to take out every single mass extractor in the rear portion. 1 engineer is still alive back here. Actually, that has been traveling. There are 4 engineers alive on the back edge. They will be able to rebuild that. But Blinchik is being forced into an ever more constricting corner by these oncoming forces. You will notice that a Chief Jaguar has basically just been building random Cerberus turrets around to make it more difficult for Blinchik to regain ground. I will point out, though, that he is maintaining full-scale production on his T3 units. So that is kind of the deciding factor. If you're leaning on point defense as opposed to mobile units, then it's not okay. But if you're using them to supplement your units or to guard strategic areas, then absolutely drop a point defense or two. Basically, a Chief Jaguar is just being a pain in Blinchik's butt, which I can definitely get behind, because that is a fun way to play, especially as Cybran. Cerberus turrets might not kill much, but they'll definitely tickle the oncoming units. We got another Strat Bomber out for Jaguar, which I don't think is immediately going to go into combat, but oh dear. That is a T1 artillery drop into the back of the base. Oh, Jaguar, oh honey, you are about to have a bad, bad time. Strat Bomber, you need to come into play here. If you land one hit, those fervors are down. And dropped. And the bomb is off because they were facing the other direction. Oh, good lord. That is bad news. Brick is going into the back. Two T2 mexes are gonna go down. Oh no, he retargeted the artillery too quickly. So only one. Nope. The retarget for the win. Two T2 mass extractors down for Chief Jaguar. But seeing as he has almost 3 T3 in the back of the base, I don't think that's going to be that much of an issue. That's kind of hilarious that the Strat Bombers have anti-air. Kind of odd. Okay, so looking at the other edges of this map, we've got... let's see. We've got bricks up on the north side. We've got fervors murdering the crap out of a transport. Oh, good lord. That was a lot of damage really quickly. But with 2 bricks on deck and a little bit of micro, they will come out ahead. Good luck getting your base built when all of those are on the edge of the plateau. I love how that single brick is still alive there. 53 kills. 53 on that brick. That is lovely. Bricks falling back in the face of the gun comm. Don't want to get anywhere near that business, to be sure. Jaguar is still sitting on 1 Strat Bomber. Not going to be enough to effectively snipe anything, but definitely enough to do a little damage at some point. Just depends on what you're up for. So we got 4 bricks, 1 loyalist on the north. More than sufficient to keep these units at bay, I think, with some careful kiting. Especially considering the fact that you can retreat into the Cerberus turrets. And we've got another T3 power generator going down for Blinchik. I am trying to decide. That is probably going to result in a T3 power or a T3 air factory. Ah, there it is. It's already built. So Blinchik is needing the additional power to maintain that production. I'm waiting to see when we have a GC hit the field. Jaguar is also on 2 T3 power generators with quite a substantial amount of T3 air production. I don't know that he has enough for a Monkey Lord necessarily, but he has got a hefty amount of T3 production to be sure. Look at all the bricks scattering this map. You've got 4 up there, you've got 4 over here, you've got 4 over here, well 3. And then a whole other group of about 8 moving up from the rear. The mobile shields are saving Blinchik's butt. That added HP is letting those Harbingers in the core of that formation escape without a scratch, as the bricks are struggling to break down the shielding and even kill a single unit. Now, to be sure, if there were 10 or 15 bricks here, the amount of damage would just be too damn high. But with the low numbers that we're seeing here, it is difficult for the bricks to break through. But breakthrough they have, and now they're starting to kill off the Harbingers underneath the shields. So that's going to be 1 Harvey down, 2 Harveys down, only 2 remaining, and they are now under fire from the bricks. One brick is going to go down there. We've lost a second there and a third over here. So they actually lost more bricks on the blue side than Harbingers were lost on the purple side. And that is entirely thanks to all of those mobile shields. Now, there were some mobile shields lost, and mobile shields do cost mass. So I'm not at all trying to suggest that that was a mass effective engagement. But holy crap, don't underestimate the freaking mobile shields. They can actually boost up the Aeon land forces past what they would be on their own. Okay. Looking at the south side again. Still looking at T3 production to the nth degree. Still only a single strat bomber, I think, but I don't know where that strat bomber is located. Did it actually go off somewhere and die? It might have. It might have auto-attacked something or been sent and I just missed it. We do have tack launches coming out though. That's an interesting thing. And bricks closing on the right side of Blinchik's base. So these units are going to be forced ever eastward. And I think overall, Jaguar definitely has the upper hand on unit count. Let's go take a look-see at the eco while we're slightly slower on the action. We've got 82 mass income and 67,000 reclaim for Blinchik. Jaguar is on 58,000 reclaim, stalling for power because of that reclaim, and is on 224 mass income. Jaguar, you should just get in there and freaking end it. You are almost triple Blinchik's eco. How the hell is Blinchik supposed to come back from this? Okay, factories have been control K'd. That mass is going to go somewhere. Where, I know not, but somewhere indeed. Looks like we've got that factory paused once the Harbinger comes out. Are you dropping a GC somewhere? Is that what's going on here? We've got a transport drop on the ACU. So that is going to move to this edge and hopefully get overcharge happy on those bricks. Oh, queuing T3 mass extractor upgrades. That's what that is. Okay, broadsword is in the back, which is not excellent. Not a broadsword, a whaler. The whaler is going to be able to take out all those mass extractors yet again and then move on to greener pastures for raiding. Meanwhile, Blinchik is going to struggle to move northwards. Those nice shiny T3 Mexes that just got started must not die. Strat Bomber taking the early Loyalist overcharge should be able to take the bricks, but no, I don't think Blinchik has extra E-storage. So the overcharge is not one-hit killing the bricks. That is not a good thing to have happening. Transport coming in for the ACU once again, probably transporting over to this edge in order to stave off the offense of those on the left. But it's not gonna be enough. We got Corsairs in on the T3 power. Not a successful snipe, but still, there's nothing on this edge to stop these Loyalists. There's nothing on this edge to stop these bricks. And that is Blinchik going up in flames as he tries to get across on the transport. Oh my. That is GG. Chief Jaguar wins it by overwhelming economic superiority, shaming me for what I said at the beginning of this game. Well played to both of these players. Blinchik hanging in there far longer than I would have thought anyone could. But towards the end there, that just looked like an overwhelming defeat. Wish it would have ended just a little bit sooner. Okay. That is going to wrap it up for this one. Let me shift gears a little bit. We're going to go watch the final and see how the rest of this tournament plays out. That is going to wrap everything up for this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, feel free to drop a like and share it with someone. If you want to support the channel, catch the streams, or join the Discord, check out the links in the description. Thank you all for being at least partially insane, and I will see you in the next one.